Hello, and welcome to another segment of Smoke Signals. I'm your host from today's show, Lieutenant Chris Taylor from the LaGrange Fire Department. We have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about senior adults as well as children. So sit back and relax, because you're about to watch Smoke Signals. Welcome back. Today we have with us Mr. Van Barnett with the Vernon Woods Retirement Community. Hello, Van, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Chris.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and we thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come out and be with us to talk about some very, very important topics concerning your retirement community and just safety for our senior adults in general. But before we get into our topics, if you could just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been with Vernon Woods and what your role and responsibilities are.
Sure. I've been with Vernon Woods for over a year, and I am the assistant maintenance person there, and trained to assist in any kind of maintenance problems that we might have at the facility. Okay,
cool. Now, I'm quite sure it's never a dull moment. Especially being in the maintenance division, there's always something that you got to go and tweak and fix, and so it's an ongoing process. But I'm quite sure, being there with the seniors, they make your day a special day, because they are the life of the party there, I guess you could say. Yep. We were talking about safety in general, and specifically fire safety in a retirement community such as Vernon Woods. Now, first of all, before we get into some of the basic topics, could you tell us why fire and life safety is important for your facility?
Well, when you care about people, you want the best, training and safety for them. Mm-hmm. Getting them out of the building in a situation is something you need to train for.
Right, exactly, and we can't say that enough, because and one of the things that I did want to mention, back in July, there was a retirement community in Chesapeake, Virginia, that had a fire and claimed the lives of 3 senior adults there. Mm-hmm. And so, and first of all, we want to give our prayers to the families of those victims in Chesapeake, as well as the retirement community, because that is definitely a devastating loss. And to have that to happen in a retirement community, I'm quite sure eyes and ears are open around the country that those facilities that heard about that particular tragedy. So we wanted to make sure we acknowledge that. Now, what makes Vernon Woods safer than most personal care homes, basically?
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but we're one of the only assisted living retirement communities in LaGrange and Troup County that is certified. Okay. One requirement is we have a sprinkler in every room, not only in the kitchen, the bedroom, and the den, but we also have one in the closet and the balcony. Okay. So if a fire was to break out, we're covered, basically. Okay. We're thoroughly inspected to get that certificate by the State Fire Marshal of Georgia.
All right, so that's a good thing to know, because you have the basic essentials that you need for that facility to protect the residents, or even visitors that may be there on the property. So that's a very important thing, and of course, like you mentioned, having it inspected by the State Fire Marshal is an added bonus to
and as an employee as well. I mean, we feel safe because we're all trained.
Yes.
And it makes a much better environment to work in as well.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Now, what training do the Vernon Woods staff offer for your location?
When you're hired at Vernon Woods, an extensive orientation, which covers all of our safety, all of our certifications like that we require to work there, and it's a refresher course every year on the fire safety.
Okay.
And we have week-long fire safety awareness, which I think you were involved in that just a couple of weeks ago, where we invited the fire department out.
Yes.
And a big thank you to John Thomas, who also assisted us and gave us some training classes as well.
Okay. Certifications, and I'm sure that there are a number of certifications that the staff must have there at that location. So if you could just talk about some of the required state certifications for your employees.
Sure. Number one, first aid, CPR, which is huge, to be certified in that as well. All the employees are required. We have CNAs, which are certified medication aides and certified nursing assistants. They're all trained in CPR, first aid, and our 5-hour fire life safety class, which is required.
Right.
And once again, just what we mentioned before, we are the only assisted living facility in Troup County that's certified, and that's required by a safety fire marshal inspection every year. With those certifications, and I'm sure that there are times, and it's just like anything else, when you have to certify in so many things, it's almost like, oh, is it time to certify again? But it's an annual thing. This is something that you just don't learn overnight, and you're just done with it. It's something that you have to stay refreshed on, because there are changes that take place, and so we have to continue to stay on top of the changes that may take place as it relates to what we need to learn, what we need to do, or what we don't need to do as it relates to our involvement working in a facility such as a retirement community. So I think that's a big benefit in having those different types of trainings, and then having someone who is coordinated to, offer those trainings when they're necessary. So I think that's very important as well. And again, when you care about people, you want the best training, and you want to offer that to the community. All right. Now, we talked about the staff a little bit. Now let's talk a little bit about the residents. Now, what type of training do the residents get as it relates to, fire and other safety issues there at the community? Well, we have drills, and we have silent drills and live drills, and we involve all the shifts. So you may be, first, second, or third shift, because you don't know when a fire may break out. Exactly. And so that helps orientate them to get out safely, and it helps also train our staff to assist the residents in a safely manner. We offer education classes by you guys, the local fire marshal and the local firefighters come out and actually talk to our residents, which is a big help, and it makes it real for them. Yes. It makes it something that they can grab onto and say, this is, we're having all these drills, but, when the community's involved, it makes it, the firefighters and the fire marshal, it makes it real. Yes, it does, and I've had the opportunity to, teach quite a few safety classes there at the community, and I have to say this, they are a great group of individuals, because they are comical. Their personalities is just, we have a great time. That's one of the things I like about it. Is they're eager to learn. They want to listen, because they hear from you all so much. Right. They probably get tired of hearing you all, but when you have someone coming in that is a third party that's echoing the same things that you all are doing, then it makes it more real for them. And they'll take it more seriously, because it's not that y'all are just telling them a bunch of stuff because you just want to tell them, but they need to understand that these are important things, and we need for you to follow these rules, because if you don't follow these rules, we could have some type of incident that occurred that could have been avoided. right.
So I think that's great, and I do believe that having the fire department coming out makes it even worth their while, because they just enjoy, having us to come in, and they get a chance to see the fire trucks. And I want to mention this: we did have an opportunity to be a part of a special event there. I believe it was last year. There was a ball that they had for like a senior ball.
Yeah.
And we had some firefighters that came out to be a part of that. So not only just the safety side of it, but actually being a part of other activities that are held there at the community. And I think that means a lot for the residents there to, have that partnership.
Right. Again, it makes it reality for them when they see everybody involved.
Definitely. Now, what are some other safety features that Vernon Woods retirement community offer to the residents?
Well, we're a smoke-free facility.
Okay.
Which we offer the sprinkler systems, which cover the rooms and the entire community. And we have a state-of-the-art fire panel, which actually will tell us, we actually use it in our drills, it'll tell us where the fake fire is at that time when we're doing a drill. And it helps our staff evacuate the community. And you have different scenarios.
Right.
And so we practice that as well. We're tested regularly by certified contractors as well, all of our sprinkler systems. And our fire alarms and all that are tested yearly by our contractor, which makes it safer again for our residents and our employees. It's a very safe place to work. Yeah,
definitely. And as you mentioned about the smoke-free community, I think that's an added bonus, because over the years, and a lot of facilities now are going to smoke-free, which I think is great, because years past, fires have occurred due to unattended smoking materials or discarded smoking materials and things of that nature. Right. So having that smoke-free environment, I think that's a great thing. It may not be for those residents who enjoy the time of the pleasure of smoking, but they have to understand that it's not just their lives, but it's the lives of everyone that is in that environment that you all are responsible for, and sometimes you have to put measures in place to make sure that you accommodate everyone at that facility. All right. Well, you have definitely brought a wealth of information for us today as it relates to the Vernon Woods retirement community, and as we talk about personal care homes in general, and just that senior community, because I think senior communities are something that we need to make sure that they stay safe, because there are a lot of seniors who may not live in a retirement community, but they may live alone, in a subdivision or in an apartment complex and things of that nature. So we definitely want to make sure that we keep all our seniors in our minds as it relates to safety, and hopefully our viewing audience will take heed to the information we've shared today and be able to apply it to those that they love and spend their time with.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chris.
All right, we appreciate you being here today, Van, and we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have more here on Smoke Signals. Welcome back. We have with us today Corporal Jim Davidson with the LaGrange Police Department. Hello, Jim, and welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to have you here today. I know you are a busy man and have a busy schedule, but we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come and be with us to talk about some very, very important topics that we want to share with our viewing audience today. But before we get into that, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been with the police department, and your role and responsibility.
Well, I've been with the police department about 23 years now. I'm in the community outreach unit, which basically does a lot of interactions with the community of the non-enforcement type.
Okay, and I want to congratulate you with your service to the community for 23 years. I'm getting ready to celebrate 25 years myself, so
I understood that. And congratulations to you also.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, topics we're going to discuss today, and we have several of them, but as we get ready, you know, it's back to school season again. And so we want to talk about some safety tips for our kids. So what can our kids do to ensure their safety as they start the summer, fall school season?
Well, basically, there's, you know, the safety of getting to and from school, which has to do with being on the roadway or being a pedestrian or so forth. Mm-hmm. For example, waiting for buses at the bus stops. They need to make sure they stay out of the roadway. Obviously, they need to preferably wear something that's bright or put something reflective maybe on their book bag or something that it would be helpful as the time changes. And be attentive in everything that's going on around them. You know, don't get too involved with a phone or texting and walking or things like that. And of course, if they're going to and from school in a motor vehicle, they need to wear their seatbelts. And if they're driving with other children, like high school students, then they want to be have no horseplay, have no carrying on in the car. Be responsible young adults and young drivers.
I think you hit it there, especially for our high school students, to, you know, making sure that they're not, you know, being distracted when they're in the vehicles and things of that nature, because accidents can occur.
Oh, absolutely, and that's a big factor with young teen drivers, is distracted driving.
Definitely.
For one reason or another, whether it be an electronic device or food or each other, other people in the car, that kind of thing. Right.
Okay. Now, senior adults, and you know, in our first segment we was talking about senior adult safety, and we want to continue to talk about the safety concerns as it relates to our senior adults. What can senior adults do to protect themselves from being victims of crimes in their homes?
Well, basically, there's probably two sides of that coin. There's the physical side of being a victim of crime, as in a break-in or something of that nature, and the way they can, you know, combat that is to have motion lighting outside their home, use the motion lighting or leave a light on. Keep all their windows and doors locked at all times, including in their motor vehicle. Don't leave things of value in plain view in your motor vehicle when it's parked at your home. Store them in the trunk out of sight somewhere, or bring them in the house. And then, you know, have some a regular person, or you know, have a neighborhood contact, have some kind of a relationship with as many neighbors as you can, because the best and the safest neighborhood, not just for the elderly but for anybody, is one that's connected and that knows each other and stays involved with each other. The other side of that, though, that they fall victim or prey to a lot is different scams electronically, whether it be on their computer, whether it be on a telephone. You know, any of that kind of stuff. What we suggest is that they go on the they make sure they put their phones, all their phone numbers or phones they have, whether it be a home phone or a cell phone, and they need to go in and get those entered into the Georgia no-call list and the federal no-call list. Okay. Because that'll help to vet a lot of that and avoid a lot of the people having access to their numbers. You'll still get calls. That is not a 100% system that works. Right. But you know, we suggest when they get the call and it's from somebody they don't know, if it's some government agency, they aren't going to call them on the phone. And if they do, they need to tell them they need to have some kind of correspondence mailed to them in person or come out to the house in person. Short of that, they need to just identify themselves as that they are on the no-call list, and that potentially this person calling them is violating the law, and 9 times out of 10, the phone will be hung up immediately, and they won't pursue it anymore. Because if it is really a legitimate solicitor, they understand that they're violating the law, and they're not supposed to do that if you're on the no-call list. And if it's not, then I would just hang up, because the person's going to continue to try to either threaten them, use some kind of a threat, some kind of duress, something to hold over them, whether it be a bill, a government agency. Even some people are using this ploy with the arrests. You know, you have a warrant. That's a common one that's come up here recently.
Wow.
They call and say, this is so-and-so with the police department, and you have a warrant for your arrest, but if you pay this amount now, we do not, law enforcement does not operate that way. We don't serve warrants on the phone.
Exactly.
Okay? And like I said, they just need to hang up and explain to the person if they want to that you can come to my house or you can send me some correspondence in the mail, and then we'll entertain it. And if that happens, obviously, they can contact us also if they need to ever, you know, if they ever have a question or any doubt.
Okay.
Let us be part of the conversation also.
Okay. And I think that's a key point. If they ever run into one of those situations, you know, call the police department regardless. Right. Because, you know, that way if it's something that is considered to be a scam, at least you're aware of it, and you all can kind of get ahead of whatever's going on.
Well, and the main thing when they call us, the main thing we're going to emphasize to them and remind them is that no matter who it is or what they're doing, if this is not someone that you deal with all the time, like you know it's your bank and you called the bank or someone you've called on the phone to do some kind of transaction, do not give out personal information, names, date of birth, social security numbers, bank account numbers, credit card numbers, or anything like that over the phone. And really, if you're not, you know, online, it needs to be a very secure site and something that is known and trusted, like, you know, the known Amazon, PayPal kind of places that all of us frequent and use. Right. Not anybody that sends you an email asking you for that stuff. That's just, we can't emphasize that enough, because a lot of people are falling victim to scams and losing a lot of money, and especially the elderly, because they tend to prey on them. Right. It seems more so than others. Yeah,
and it's a sad situation, but hopefully we can, you know, come up with something to minimize those type of those crimes to our seniors. Now we're going to change gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about some safety at incident scenes. What are some safety tips for our bystanders as it relates to fire incidents as well as vehicle accident incidents?
Well, if you're a bystander and you're not involved in the incident, you're not a witness, you're not a part of the problem, if you will, or a victim witness or part of the situation or the incident if you're not involved in the accident, really there's no reason for you to be there and in that area. And we would prefer, because it kind of can hinder us from doing our job and you from doing your job as a fire response and EMS and whoever. If it's an accident, obviously people need to have medical care potentially. So the more hindrance there is, or the more obstruction there is of us being able to carry that out, obviously the longer it's going to take, and that could be critical when it comes to life safety. Right. If it's a, you know, an incident like a fire or a crime scene or that kind of thing, crime scenes, a lot of times we're going to have a barrier up anyways that they can't come inside of. Fires the same way. There's a lot of dangers associated with fires, as you can explain and understand. Right. And mainly it's just if you're not part of the situation or the incident, you really don't need to be there at all or be involved, or at least not be involved anywhere up close. If you want to stay back and observe or whatever, you know, in today's world a lot of people like to watch, a lot of people like to video, a lot of people like to do, that's fine. But just do it from afar versus up close, so you're not in the way and you're not encumbering us from doing our job, interfering with us doing our job in any way, shape, or form. Exactly, because, you know, as, you know, public safety, we are responsible for the safety of everybody in what we consider the hot zone of that incident. Right. And so, you know, if, like you said, if you don't need to be there, you know, that just helps us to be able to manage that incident a lot better without having a whole lot of people to just, you know, just wandering around, you know, doing their own thing or getting in the way and hindering operations and stuff like that. Absolutely. Yep. So, all right. Another topic that I wanted to touch on just briefly, issues as it relates to children being left in vehicles. If you could just kind of explain a little bit about, you know, the no-nos about that, because we continue to hear, you know, cases where people are leaving their children in the vehicle, and that's unacceptable. Right. Well, and again, some of this obviously is common sense, or we would think it is, but you do see there are incidents of this type. And I'll throw the other component in there is animals, because obviously there's I think a lot of times the only thing people love more than their children are their animals. Right. It seems like. So when it comes to children and animals, obviously we live in the South. Throughout about probably the better part of 5 to 6 months out of the year, we have very warm temperatures, and the vehicle temperature will exceed 100 degrees very quickly.
Yes.
Children should not be left unattended. Obviously, there's consequences when it comes to that as far as child cruelty, child abuse. There's a number of things that you could be in laws you could be violating, and the same thing with an animal, potentially. And fortunately, a lot of citizens are vigilant to this and pay attention. If you're going to leave children in a car, obviously there should be an adult with them. The car should be running. You shouldn't leave unattended children in cars because other bad things can happen.
Exactly.
Children can get, if the keys are there, they start the car, they move the car, they have an accident. There's just a lot of different possible problems that can develop when you start leaving children and pets in cars, and it's just not a good idea, and we don't suggest that you do it for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah, you made a great point, and we thank you for shedding a light on that issue.
Sure.
And providing that information. As we prepare for our summer, fall season, events are starting to pop up, and we got football getting ready to start too.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Great for football season. But if you would, are there any events that the LaGrange Police Department will be involved in the near future?
We do. Right now, in fact, there's a couple of things that you can, well, there's one thing you can sign up for now, the Citizens Police Academy.
Okay.
And that will be starting on September the 5th. It's a Tuesday night. And it will run for a consecutive 10 weeks, 10 Tuesday nights in a row. Basically, it's about a 2 to 3 hour offering. It starts at 6 o'clock every Tuesday night. And again, it'll run for 10 weeks. It'll kick off on September 5th. And it will involve you learning about the different things the police department does, the different divisions and things that are in the police department, how we operate. You'll get to do some hands-on stuff that we do, including there's an interactive active shooter part of it where you actually play the role of a police officer and potentially have to address a situation that might or might not involve having to use force on someone. There's a traffic stop component. There's just a lot of really good information packed into those 10 weeks that most people that have attended in the past really enjoy it and have a lot of good things to say about it. And it really opens people's eyes up to what we do. Because a lot of times we watch TV and we kind of get misled and we only know what's on TV.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add?
No, like I said, you can sign up online, on our Facebook page, on the police department's page, or you can also walk in the police department and get an application that way.
All right.
And we'll have National Night Out on October 3rd. That's a Tuesday night.
Okay. Don't want to forget that.
And that'll be at 110 Commerce Avenue, and that's open to everyone in the city.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, Jim, we want to thank you again for being on the show and sharing this information today. And we pray for your safety each and every day that you're out on the streets.
Thank you. We all need it.
And we just want to say, thank you again for sharing this wealth of information with our viewing audience.
Sure, thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll have more here on Smoke Signals. Welcome back. We would like to take this time again to thank our very special guest for being on the show, Mr. Van Barnett from Vernon Woods Retirement Community, and Corporal Jim Davidson of the LaGrange Police Department. I hope the information that they shared with you today has been very beneficial and that you will be able to use it in your home and share it with those that you come in contact with. We'd like to take this time also to thank each and every one of our viewers for watching another segment of Smoke Signals. Until next time, take care.